Welcome back to Back Alley Knife Fights. My name is Rosin, and this is Under Night In-Birth Exe latest. Not to be confused with Under Night In-Birth Exe late, which that game is the predecessor to this game. This is the latest, well I guess I can't really say that because it's part of the title. This is the most recent entry in the Under Night series of fighting games made by Soft Circle French Bread, who you may be familiar with if you're a Type Moon fan, because they are the people who made the Melty Blood games. And these games are actually, they feel fairly similar in many different ways. In fact, there is a Melty Blood character just straight up in this game, Eltnum, who you may remember from Melty Blood as Scion. It's just a playable character in this game, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I really like Under Night. Of all of the anime fighting games I've played, this is by far my favorite. Something about just how this game looks and plays, just the aesthetic, the character design, the music, the way that the hits work and just combos work, and everything about that, just it all clicked with me in a way that BlazBlue never did, Guilty Gear never quite did, though that being said, I really love and appreciate the aesthetic and character design and all that of Guilty Gear. Those are very advanced games that I often find myself struggling to fully grasp or wrap my head around, in a way that I don't with Under Night. That being said, I'm not good at Under Night. You're going to see me, over the course of the next 20 minutes or so, I think like 25 minutes, you're going to see me getting my ass kicked a lot. I am playing very lackluster, as you would expect from a beginning fighting game player. So I decided to pick a assortment of matches that are true to my experience. I want to show something that's very representative of me learning how to play this game, and that includes me being honest about my losses, because there are a lot of losses I suffered over the course of me recording in a couple different sessions here with two different characters, where I just got my ass completely blown up. And, oh god, that was a bad super. But also at the same time, I also ran into people like this who were kind of playing at a beginning level that I don't know, it was bizarre. My entire experience playing this game, I guess, was a little bizarre, but I also at the same time think is understandable, considering that it's more of a niche fighting game compared to many of its contemporaries. So basically the problem I ran into with Under Night In-Birth Exe latest matchmaking was that I was mostly running into people that have been playing the game for, you know, thousands upon thousands of matches, and understandably, they're far better than me. They understand how to play this game. They're the ones supporting it and keeping it alive, after all. And they were just kicking my ass, and I did my best to take away what I could from those matches and try to figure out ways to improve. At the same time, sometimes there's like a feeling of frustration that those matches can lead you with, like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? I'm never gonna get better. I'm getting my ass completely blown out of the water. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I look like a fool. But at the same time, I think it's important to remember that, you know, those people put in the time and they put in the work to get to that position where they can kick my ass. And I'm the recipient of that. And if I want to ever get better, I'm gonna need to, you know, face those losses and just kind of endure those defeats and do my best to learn from them, so that I eventually can get to a point where I put up more of a fight. And that's, like I said, before, earlier in the series, I think in my last video even, this isn't about me trying to get good at fighting games. It's about me becoming at least more proficient. It's my slow journey towards improvement, and, you know, every step of the way counts, and I want to keep reminding myself of that so I don't get discouraged. You know, it's little reminders like that that help you keep going when you're starting to get towards those points of frustration or whatever. Like even someone on Twitter, I think it was a Twitter user, Veldak, who I've had pleasant interactions with before. Hi, Veldak, if you're watching this. I was just tweeting out, like, oh god, I got my ass kicked playing Under Night Ranked or whatever. And he chimed in like, oh yeah, I just started playing Under Night 2 and like ranked matches are brutal or whatever, I got my ass kicked too. And it's just little friendly reminders like that that I really take appreciation of, because it helps kind of keep my expectations in check, and it helps me remind myself that nobody's born a natural at these games. These are hard games to pick up and play and really learn, and you do need to put in the research and the time and grind out the skill and muscle memory to be able to play these games in a way that doesn't completely end with you getting curb stomped. So I'm slowly trying to carve out more time in my life so that I can do that. And part of that is going to be moving forward until Under Night In-Birth Exe Clear comes out. I actually don't know if the late is still in the title anymore. But whatever. I'm going to try putting in at least 3 hours of fighting games every week moving forward until that game comes out, and then I'm going to see where I take things from there. Just so I can develop more of a groundwork and a footing in the Under Night system, and I develop some fundamentals that I can carry forward into Clear. Just so I can at least kind of be a little proactive and make sure I know what I'm doing. So yeah, expect a few more back alley knife fights moving forward. I actually also want to do the same thing with Guilty Gear in time for Guilty Gear 2020 coming out. But yeah, a lot of these videos are probably going to include matches like this one versus this very good non-save player here, where I'm just going to be getting my ass kicked, and it's going to be up to me to figure out ways in which I don't get my ass kicked. And I'm excited for that challenge and learning very slowly but surely how to put up more of a fight. But yeah, the character I'm playing here is Carmine, who is a very technical, very advanced character who I really was drawn to from the outset just because I really like his dumb blood boy punk edgelord aesthetic, because I'm me and I'm super predictable. But he has a very cool and aggressive playstyle that is very unique and I like a lot, where he has some very powerful moves in his arsenal that involve using blood. But with that, see, like you could just see right there when I shot out that blood spike or whatever it's called, it used up some of my HP, and that's the real thing with this character, is that while he's very powerful and you can play very aggressively with him, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to waste a lot of your own health trying to get in hits and stuff like that. Anyway, that was a good grab on my part, actually. I'm proud of that. See, it's the little things like that I need to take pride in and just, you know, latch on to little victories like that. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, that was a very bad super for me to get hit by. That was very embarrassing. But, you know, fuck it. I'm doing it for y'all to make good content. So, yeah. I have no shame. Y'all can watch me get my ass kicked over and over again. It's all about the journey. And we'll get to the destination in due time. But, yeah, he is a very, I guess, high-risk, high-reward character with a lot of really good offensive tools and also very cool tools for zoning. You can see that blood puddle there that he can move around and manipulate like I just did there. And also, when you use different special moves, something different will happen with the blood puddle. Like, sometimes it'll become like a saw blade that will hone in on the character. Sometimes it'll become a spike that'll shoot out of the ground. Very, very interesting character, and I just have a lot of fun playing him. But at the same time, I think he's just a little too execution-heavy and technical, and just overall a little more advanced of a character than I should probably be using, at least for my skill level right now. So I do want to still play him every now and again, obviously, just because I have fun, and, you know, we play games to have fun, obviously. So, you know, every now and again I'll still play Carmine, but I think for actually improving and getting myself better at this game, I think I'm going to be better off playing a more simpler character, who I will show off in due time. But here I'm going to be kicking the ass of this this Joker Akatsuki character over here. But yeah, like I said earlier, either when I was playing online, I was either running into matches where I was facing players who were far better than me and just kicking my ass, or I was running into a lot of people who it felt like they were picking up the game and playing online for the first time and maybe didn't quite really get what to do in fighting games. So, you know, I had not a lot of difficulty winning those matches, but also at the same time I don't feel like I learn a lot from that. Every now and again I would find someone who I felt like was slightly worse or slightly better than me, and I felt like I learned a lot from those matches in particular. At the same time, you know, there's still a lot you can learn from getting your ass kicked in a match, and I'm trying to look back on my own matches that I've recorded and see where I went wrong and see what I could potentially be doing to escape certain situations or play a little more smartly than I have been. But, you know, identifying that takes time, and I'm sure it'll come with practice and a lot of trial and error as I play more and more matches. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, what I really just want to do is, more than anything, I know I have to research, I know I have to put in a lot of time into training mode, but also I think that there is some value in just straight up just playing, and even if that means getting your ass kicked a lot, I think that there's just a lot of value had in just immersing yourself in a game and just trying to get a feel for things. So what you're seeing here is me switching over to my new main, Akatsuki, from, he's a guest fighter from the game Akatsuki Blitzkampf, or Blitzkampf, I actually don't know how you pronounce that. I'm German and I don't know how you pronounce that, so fuck me. Well, okay. I should clarify, I'm American, but German heritage, so that really doesn't mean anything to most people. I don't know a lick of German, I'm sorry, the language. So yeah, you can see me practicing with Akatsuki here in the mission mode. I remember I said earlier in the series, I think when I recorded Dragon Ball, I said when I played Under Night for the series, I was going to go through the tutorial mode. I tried recording that like 3 times, like just a live thing of me going through Under Night's tutorial mode and trying to explain it, because I have received some comments and feedback from people privately saying that they watch these videos, but they don't really know a lot about fighting games, and they don't really get the memo on how these games work or what you really should be doing, or even the lingo and stuff like that. And Under Night In-Birth Exe latest is praised almost universally for its excellent tutorial that is very honest in how hard these games can be, but at the same time really gives you a solid grounding in what you should be looking out for and how you should be playing these games, both on a very wide genre level, but also getting into the nitty-gritty of the systems found in this game. So I wanted to show that off, but I don't know. I can't even pretend to be a good enough player to show someone a very basic tutorial like that, and feel like I'm not somehow being dishonest or like I'm giving good info. And I felt like I was doing more harm than good. So what I will say, if you are ever interested in getting into fighting games, maybe pick up this game on a sale and see if you can just play through the tutorial, and it'll give you a very good basic understanding of how to play these games a little bit. You know, you're not gonna have a great time just jumping in and getting your ass kicked online, trying to figure things out on your own necessarily, but you're gonna be able to pick up some very basic things from just hopping into that tutorial mode and giving it a go. Now, speaking of getting your ass kicked online, this Linne character, or player, just completely demolished me. I wanted to throw this in. I think this is the first time in a online ranked match for any fighting game I've ever been double perfected, spoiler alert, but yeah, I just got completely demolished. This was my second match as Akatsuki, and talk about fucking demotivating, right? Like, just I spent like 2 hours going at it in the mission mode, and I'm trying to learn basic B&Bs and what moves go together and just the general physics of this character, right? And then that happens, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. But, you know, I'm not going to give up that easy, so I decided to keep on playing, only to be demolished by this Merkava player, or Merkava. Is it Merkava? Merkava? I never actually know how you're supposed to pronounce that. But yeah, you know, that's what these games are at their core, though. It's a lot of getting your ass kicked, and choosing to learn why you're getting your ass kicked, and doing something about it. And I'm still at the part where I need to figure out how to do something about it, and do so efficiently. So yeah, I want this series to be honest in this way, where I can show my losses and show me sucking and doing terrible, and maybe many months, if not years from now, when I start to do some more impressive shit, it's going to make it feel all the more rewarding, because I can look back at all these matches where I'm just getting my ass completely wrecked, and I can think, oh god, what the fuck were you doing? You're such a fool. But maybe one day far off in the future, I'll be able to look back and be like, damn, I'm a lot better now. But I have to work for that future, and that's a lot of hard work. So we'll see. We'll see if I stick with it. I hope I stick with it. I'd, you know, be letting myself down if I don't, but, you know, time limitations and restrictions and motivation are very, very hard things to come by, so we'll see where this ends up. But I do want to get better, and I do want to give this a sincere and honest shot. And then we have other matches. Excuse me. Oof. I'm a little coffee. My throat's going on me, too, because, well, for one, I've been talking for 14 minutes and 40 seconds straight, but also I decided to record this after exercising, which was not probably the brightest idea. I probably should have grabbed a glass of water before recording this too. But then I had other matches against this Chaos player where, as you can tell by their RIP score, I actually never realized until just this instance that the the player score thing is called RIP in this game. That's cute. You know, I'm slowly not fully utilizing entirely everything I learned in the mission mode, but the one thing that I did see someone posting about online when I was looking up how to improve in this game, I saw someone post a thing that it was a tournament player who posted something like, you know, with Under Night especially, you're going to go into training mode and mission mode, and you're going to learn some combos, and you're going to be frustrated because you can't employ them in a fight right away. Like, learning how to do a combo in a training mode with ideal circumstances and learning how to actively use that in a match, those are two very different things. So don't get discouraged if it takes you some time. So what I decided to do instead is I wanted to at least take what I learned from those combos and from those basic ideas that I learned from the mission mode and try to incorporate those moves and, you know, some very basic minor combos like right there. Just incorporate a little bit of what I learned into my play and see if I can start making some improvements from there. And I was really happy with my progress. Like, obviously I'm not doing very optimal combos or anything that's really all that fancy. I'm just doing some very basic strings into special moves and supers and stuff like that. But even like that air grab right there, I was really proud of that. You know, it's those little minor victories that I want to focus in on and make sure that I'm taking pride in, and I'm not focusing on the negative. I think that is one thing too, especially with difficult games, that this is going to get very sociological all of a sudden. And before I get into that, I do want to say I fought many matches against this Cub Chu 2U player, who plays a very, very fantastic Altnum. Well, maybe not fantastic, but better than I can play my Akatsuki. This is one of those matches, or one of those players I had found that I was kind of talking about earlier, where it felt like they were at a skill level that was just above mine, and I feel like I really learned a lot playing against Cub Chu 2U. I can't read. I felt like I really learned a lot playing against their Altnum as we consistently found each other in the ranked online mode for like a good 2 hours there. So I just decided to pick this match because it was a very good close match that I thought was very exciting to watch, and I was really happy with how I played here. But yeah, going on to what I said, I feel like maybe not even necessarily with fighting games, but just as someone who likes difficult games, even if they aren't necessarily multiplayer games, I feel like there is an emphasis for a lot of people to focus on their losses, on their failures, and really accentuate the negative. And I feel like you see this especially with people who give up on things like Megami Tensei or Souls when they hit a rough patch because they just get frustrated, they feel like they don't understand what they're doing. And it becomes very easy to hone in on where you're fucking up and not being able to grow, rather than those little minor successes that you do hit that eventually do build up to you becoming a better player. And yeah, I don't know, that's just a mindset that I try to keep in mind, that I feel like a lot of people fall victim to, and I want to try avoiding for myself as best as possible. My win rate for Carmine and Akatsuki so far have been dreadful, even after hours of online ranked mode play. Carmine, I have won only 12% of my ranked matches, ever. With Akatsuki, I'm not much better off. I've only won 17% of my ranked matches. Those are pretty bad, dreadful numbers, but I'm not going to let that discourage me. I understand where I'm at in the grand hierarchy of player skill, and I am going to try to use that as motivation to work my way up, rather as something to dwell on and feel bad about. And yeah, I don't know, that is something that I do feel has always somewhat interested me, just as someone who has casually followed fighting games and stuff for a while. You know, I've been, like I said, I think at the start of the series, I've been playing fighting games at a very basic and casual level, and very vaguely following, like, the competitive scene for about a decade now, actually. But just, it's all a matter of me putting the time in and really getting a go at it. But one thing that I have always really been interested in with fighting games as a whole is just the psychology behind it. and I really enjoy seeing great players who are very successful in tournaments and stuff talking about their mindset and what they see in the community, just in terms of player psychology and what motivates people, or why people quit certain games, or why people get stuck and start finding it difficult to learn things like that. It often feels to me, the sense I get just as an outsider in many ways looking in, is that a lot of growth in these games is also comes from a mental place of having the fortitude to find, you know, areas to improve, and being able to self-critique while also not losing motivation. It's a very interesting thing, and I guess, frankly, the more I think about it, I guess it's not too different from other hobbies and stuff like that, in that way that, you know, there's always different plateaus that people can reach in skill in anything, but I don't know, just something about the way that the fighting game community openly addresses it and talks about it, and frequently supports one another in a way to help other players out with overcoming that, has always really appealed to me, and I that's something that I kind of look forward to on my own personal journey as I try to, once again, get better at these games. Feeling like I'm starting to repeat myself here, but I guess I'll talk more about the game itself. Yeah, I don't know, I really started to appreciate playing Akatsuki here. He's a very basic Shoto character with a good tool set. I do miss running, though. He can't run. I think that's something that only he can't do. Maybe some of the bigger characters can't run either. I actually don't know off the top of my head. But yeah, that makes him a little bit slower, and frankly, I found it a little hard to get in compared to Carmine in some of my matches. But you know, that's something that I'll have to work around. But other than that, he's just a very easy character to use in many ways, and I'm looking forward to learning, you know, a little bit more of a solid game plan with him, and how to get in and accomplish what I want to accomplish, in addition to figuring out combo routes and all that good stuff. The final match I decided to choose for the footage here was this really fun Akatsuki mirror match I found. And actually, that is one thing I noticed too, as I played more and more. It seemed like a lot of other beginning players really stuck with Akatsuki too, which I feel like I see a lot. Like I feel like I see a lot of players recommend Akatsuki as a good beginner character alongside like Hyde and I think a few other characters. But yeah, he's just really fun to play. And like I said, in general, just I feel like every character is fun to play in their own way from who I've played in this game. You know, obviously just playing around in training mode to see who I liked at first, and playing the arcade mode with a few different characters. But something about Akatsuki is just very joyful. He's a very good basic moveset that I think is going to be a good bedrock for developing further skills with. And even in this match, I don't know if this already happened in it, because I was kind of looking away from the screen as I contemplated my character choice there, but even though I'm not doing the full combos and stuff that I learned earlier, you at some point during this match you see me do a assault, and even you kind of saw it there, like just a basic assault into a jumping C into a low ABC combo type thing. And even just learning basic things like, oh, those moves all go together, and that's something I can do to really like try to get in and push forward or whatever. See, like right there, I tried doing it and I got a few moves in, but I think the spacing just wasn't exactly what I was looking for there. But just the very fact that I knew that was a thing I could do, I think little victories like that are what I'm choosing to look at in my play and take pride in, as small as they may seem. And even earlier too, you saw me blocking the rival Akatsuki's like little Tatsu kick thing there. And I blocked the last hit high, which was something I completely failed to do against another Akatsuki I played earlier in the night. So I just kind of internalized, hey, that's what you got to do against Akatsuki. So yeah, that's going to be it for this gameplay, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm going to be playing more Under Night, but next time around I think I'm going to be playing some Guilty Gear, so I'll see you then.